Okay, so can you see, Harshal?
Yes, I can see your screen.
What is this? I don't know. So this one, wait.
Okay, Dilip is also here.
Okay, so start now, yeah. So see this thing.
Okay, so it's asking you to log in. What happens when you log in?
Your free trial period has ended by now.
Okay, so maybe it's only for 2 weeks, looks like, whatever they gave you.
Maybe less than 2 weeks because I am trying from the last, I think Sunday or Monday. Monday, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see, I see.
probably it might be a 7-day only.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but there are other tools. So I'll send you a link so that
Okay.
you can keep working through other tools.
So
Yeah.
maybe you can check the email which I sent you. Hello, Dilip.
Hello.
You wanna pull it up on yours? Since you have the information shared, I mean, should be in your email.
Oh,
Whatever
yeah.
you sent
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
Okay, one moment. Okay. So please ignore my bad handwriting. I just roughly draw it. So
Okay.
this thing which Dilip told me last time that I did not mention this county billing here, physician billing, so I divide here. So
Okay. That's the correction you made. Okay.
yeah,
I see that. Yeah.
physician billing
So
department and then county billing department.
right. Okay. That was it the only change?
Yeah,
Um,
that was the only thing he told
okay.
me. That
Yeah.
these all fields I mentioned here in this area, only
Right.
this department I did not show. He was asking, is this a busy physician billing department or county? So now I divide. I mean, I just create the
Okay.
swim lanes.
Yeah. Look, may make sense to me then. Yeah. I remember now. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that was one of the feedback that you had. Yep.
Yeah. So it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one is fine. Yeah. This
Okay.
one looks good.
All right.
Okay. Pooja, you there?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure. Um, did you have anything, Pooja?
Um, yeah, so I have the story created for search,
Okay.
the map and everything.
Okay. All right.
So
So maybe we can start with yours first because that flows logically, right? From the search to the different things these guys are trying to do.
yeah,
So
okay,
let's.
but based on I think now I don't know what it is called, the context diagram or something maybe. Or it was decided that that search was the last thing. So I'm not sure if we want to begin with search first because we had login information first. So we had login information and then we had billing and demographics and all of that. And then
But
we
So
why
yeah,
don't
go ahead.
we go ahead and share what you have it, right?
yeah,
So
sure.
if I think about, right, the search could be even implemented before any information is entered into it. First, you may have to look into it as soon as you log in to see if
Yeah,
the patient exists or not, right?
yeah. So I'll just share my screen. Okay. So under user, I have nurse, doctors, and admin staff.
So right now you're like, it's kind of the searching only as a nurse, right? To get started.
I have considered all the three users. But I think, again, when I was getting into the details of it, they were all doing the same thing. So they would all have to search for a patient. They would all have to, make any corrections or changes or additions anywhere.
Okay, I see what you are saying. So anybody who goes into the
Yeah.
system and
So
they
Mm-hmm.
when
try
I
to
get,
work with the patient, they have to go and
yeah,
search first,
so
right?
basically,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
So when I get into this thing, I have nurse, doctor, and admin staff all. Okay. So under users, I have these three. the activity that they'll be doing is search.
Mhm.
And under tasks, I could identify these 4. One is when they want, so they will first have to log into the system to search the patient.
Mhm.
So without logging in, they will not have access to the system. Second is they will actually have to search for a patient. Third one is that they, let's say, they don't wish to get into the details of the patient. They only quickly want an access to one particular report. So after logging in, they can directly search for a report of a patient. And the last one is that they want to edit or they want to update something.
Okay, so a couple of things in this one. Typically, in most of the application, when you look into the pattern, you may not have things that, hey, I'm kind of looking directly for a report. You always look for a patient. And then once you have a patient, then you look for a report that you're looking for it for that patient. So for example, let's say if I have an X-ray, you don't go and search by it and say, hey, show me all the X-rays reports which are in the system. You always go, what is the patient that I'm looking this X-ray for? Put the patient, pull up the patient, and then typically they have all the associated reports with that patient.
Okay.
Okay.
But that's something you can clarify with the user as well,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I think you assumed here that they want to search for a report.
Yeah, it was again only an
Uh,
assumption. So maybe if,
Okay.
if they have such a system or they want to have such a system where they don't have to get into all the details, they quickly want access to only one report.
Okay.
Right. So that was just again only an assumption. So again,
Sure.
having that conversation with the business, we can then clarify on this.
Right. Yep.
The
And
unit
they
credit.
might say, oh, we don't
Yeah,
need
exactly.
a
So,
user
so we can
report. Yep. That's
get rid
correct.
of this entire thing.
Okay.
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 So once they log into the system, again, the logging in would be using the user ID and password or biometrics.
Mhm.
And when they search for a patient, it would be, they'd either have to search by name or date of birth or case number or phone number. And then under business rules, we have certain specifications.
So this is good. So can you drop into the detail with the business rules?
So this is, as a nurse, doctor, or admin staff, I want to log into the system so that I can search for a patient or file.
Okay. So just one comment,
And-
right? I think the way this one reads, right? So when you say it's I want to, typically that is the case. So this one, what you're looking at is only the login. But then
Yes.
when I look at it, right, you have identified the business rules at the bottom, which talks about the search criteria with the date of birth to narrow down the search results, right? So you're mixing two things. The business rule should only focus on the login at this point on this particular use case.
Yeah.
The second use case, when you
Yeah.
define it for search, that's where it should be done. Okay, so this one was kind of mostly what we had talked in the class. So can
Yes.
you show the search component of it? So this is all user login.
Login.
Slide number
Yes.
4 is also login. So slide number 5, you tell me. Okay.
So they'll need to log in first. That's a business rule. Second is
Okay.
they can search using any one criteria along with date of birth. So like we had discussed last time, giving date of birth as a second option would not make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So at the very beginning, they can narrow down using the date of birth. And they'll have the option to modify or refine search on the results page.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now let's say what happens is they put in the name and the date of birth, but it can so happen that we can have people with the same name and date of birth. And then if they want to modify something, if they want to still narrow down, then that page should have to modify, correct? Either using something else. So they don't have to go back to the main page and then enter all the information again. That's what I was trying to give here.
Okay, so you described the flow here, but I'm not able to see it here. I mean, based on the story details, I'm trying to see. So do you have a screen that goes along with that? Okay,
This one?
so this is your screen, right?
Yep.
And so name, first name, last name. So they will select the name, either name for whatever, right? They will select
So
three
they
or one
will,
of the three.
yes. And along with that, they can go with the date of birth to directly get on the that exact person.
Okay, so is that what you have described here in the rules?
Yeah. So
Business
search using
rule.
any one criteria along with date of birth.
Okay, so they have to select something, one of the three uh, fields, and
Yes.
plus date of birth, right? That's what you are trying to say there. Okay.
So for date of birth, they will have the option whether they want to select. So if they want to first try using only the name and the first name, last name, that's okay. That's on to them.
Okay.
Okay. So it's a compulsion to use a date of birth.
Okay. Okay, so I'm trying to read the rule that goes along with this. So stay on the screen. So I can search by name, first name or last name, or do I have to enter both?
Both.
You have to enter both, right?
Both.
So those things you can list it out. So I think the way you want to list it out is for every field, yeah, the rule you want to list it out. So kind of like if the user selects name, then both they need to enter both first name and last name for the search. That is the
Yeah.
rule that you have. Looks like,
Yeah.
right? In the other fields, if if they what if they did not select the name, but can they still enter first name and last name?
Mm, no. So if they want to search using the name, they will have to make a selection here, right? Here on this one. If they
Okay,
go here, if they want to put in the phone number here, then this will by default get deselected. So they will have to come here then.
okay,
Along with that, they can have a tick here.
okay. So I think just a high level rules for each field selection. Basically, I think you can list it out separately instead of combining into one line. I think you have
Okay.
second one, right? So you probably want to describe what is the behavior or what are the rules that goes along with this functionality.
Okay.
Yeah, which makes it more clear to the user at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, because like it's some of the things you may also want to put the rules around date of birth, right? In terms of can I select it anything in the future? How much far back I can go into it? In terms of
Yeah.
case number, do I need an exact case number or can I do a partial case number? Same thing with the names.
Okay.
Right, same thing for the phone number. Like it's can you give, do I have to give all 10 digits or can I give it just the 7 digits? And then you pull up anything that matches that 7 digits, something like that.
And Dilip, I was working
Okay.
today morning in my system, like my job. So there was a extension box also with the phone number. Um,
Yeah, it's again, you can put it like it's 4-digit extensions,
yeah.
right? But typically the patients will have only like 10-digit phone number. It's if they are working in some sort of corporation, that's when they typically they have an extension,
Yeah.
right? So this is always has to look into the context.
Mhm. Okay. So now here I was trying to explain what happens if you have multiple people by either the same name or the same date of birth or something.
Okay.
How the search results will come up, and here then I wanted to add the screen on modify, but then I did not have the time to do that. So
Now,
that's what I was trying to do that here.
when you say modify, right? So the key thing is then one of the thing I would put it back into the business results, right? When you go back into your slide number 5, is that, hey, the search results will bring, here are the fields that will bring it to display it on the screen. If there are more than one, then it'll show up all the list. What if there was only one search results, then do you want to by default go into the details?
Go into the details of the patient.
Yeah. So a lot of
Okay.
times, right, when you're just showing the search results, that's typically it's
Oh, I
not
see.
the
Yes, I
end,
am.
right?
What you mean?
You
Yeah.
had another test cases where it say, hey, they can modify the information,
Yes.
right? So I could be pulling it up the records only just to view, or I could be pulling it up to add a report or that, right? But when you look at the search results, you don't like think about the Google search results, right? When you enter it, you get the list of items just like what you're showing it here. But then you click it and then it will take it into the detail for that particular item.
Yeah.
Right? That's where typically when you do any modification or review or any such like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So try to stitch that story together.
Okay. This one was again assuming that they are looking only for a report.
What is that? So this is the report story. Okay, so this is a different one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so in the story that the previous one, right? So that was a one story that includes the search criteria and the report result screen.
Yes.
Okay, so you need the rules. So every story. So let's say you have a screen. I don't know how you documented in the tool, but the rules needs to go along with the screen for every screen. So every screen will have its own rules and exception rule as well. Now, one thing I think is not I didn't see it is like what if there is nothing found in the system? What type of
Right.
message you are trying to display? So that those details, or you can put that in. Right, because you want to display some notification, hey, nothing is found in the system. So um,
Yeah. Or what happens when user like it's don't provide anything and click on search? Then what kind of exception message you will get it?
Oh, I see.
yeah, if they're trying to search. So
So
those
I
are
think,
some of the things you can document. Yep,
yeah.
different behavior.
Yeah. So this is now, it kind of also has to go into, let's say something that we just assume to be common sense, right? Even then we have to get.
Yeah, because the developers, if you don't put that in, then developer will take the freedom and they will implement
Yes.
whatever they think. Now, generally it is okay sometime, but then again, you want to put as much detail as you want
Yeah.
in there. Yep.
Yeah, it makes sense. So this is how I had created this.
Right. Okay. So if
Okay,
you
so I
scroll
have,
down, yep. So that's the first story, and
yeah.
all the rules are there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So whatever you showed over
Yeah.
there. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you will have a second
Now,
screen and
here,
yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
So for here, I was not able to find. You remember last time we had some criteria or something. Something criteria was
Acceptance criteria.
acceptance criteria. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you
You,
scroll up, right, there is a tab for acceptance criteria.
no, I think C has an issue. So here, so it's not a story for you,
Oh,
I think.
yeah. You
Yeah,
need to select a work
different project.
item as type of a story.
Yeah, I think C has created a project as a basic project, not the Scrum project. So that's the reason you are not getting it.
Okay. So I went into boards, and then here,
Yeah,
think.
these are issues. I can clearly see it. You have created a different type of
Okay.
project. That's all.
Okay, I see. So where
Yeah.
do I go?
So you go to the Azure Devops, create a new project.
Yeah, that's what I did. I created a new project.
No, but you probably did not select the Scrum as a project.
Okay.
In the advanced, you have need to select a Scrum as a project type.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that's what I
Yeah.
missed. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So,
But it's fine. I mean, here, I mean, you don't get acceptance criteria. That's all.
Okay. So this is where they're looking only for the report.
Okay. Now, what is this report? I mean, is it a LOA or this is a different report that we discuss?
No, this is where they want to, like, again, assuming that they want to search only for a report. Okay. Let's say the doctor knows everything. It's a second or third visit in the same day or something. And he only wants that one particular report.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So
So,
now you need to discuss with the user, and user might say, "Oh, that's report is not even. They don't need a report at
yeah,
this
yeah,
point." Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
So if they don't need it,
okay.
then we can skip this.
Right.
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 But
Right.
So
the also
my,
the other thing is I want to like to understand when you say, hey, report type, it's great you're dropping it, but also look at it. You have a checkbox for both of them, like name and a report type. Just be careful. Are you searching it by name or are you searching by report type or you're allowing them to do both?
here I was allowing them to do both.
Okay. So
You
what
can put
happened?
the name.
So again, right? Definitely you need to have a discussion with the users, but some of the things that I would think about it, let's say if the user is okay to allow you to do both, then what is the criteria? Do I have to provide both? Do I like it's provide only one or the other? With the name, do I have to provide both first name and last name? Or can I just do only one of them? And then it looks like a report type, you're showing it a drop down.
Yep.
So then you have to list it out. What are the choices that you want to see it for that drop down,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And
Plus, I
then
would.
scroll down a little bit further
Yeah.
on the second screen that you put it, right? So the question here comes at is what is the filter doing at the top?
Now here, let's say again, they have multiple people by maybe the same name or something. So they'll have the option to narrow down the results.
The way I would probably like let's have a discussion is because things is now not clear, right? When you do it is that, hey, I'm going to filter based on that criteria. A lot of times you just display in the Google, when you have multiple search results, you display enough details so that just by looking at the detail, they can narrow it down instead of narrowing it down through those filter options.
I'm busy. I'm doing class.
Right. So typically you're not going to have multiple filters once you get into the search results. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then in the second thing here, Pooja, so when you talk about report, right, generally the user will give you some type of report, they think. So it's more like a drawing board exercise either, if it's a brand new report, or they will already have, in this case, right, they will already have something in place from the old system. So you need to follow that format for the report and work through that um, at that point. Now, going back here though, okay, if you scroll up, right, um, I think you probably want to take out the checkboxes just besides name and report type, because they are of no use, because they will select first, they have to enter first name and last name and then select the report type they want to run it. So I think it's additional click for the users. So
Okay.
it's more like a usability thing, right?
Mhm.
So that one you can get rid of, like a checkboxes just
Yeah.
before the name and report type.
Mhm.
Yep. It's not typical to have these checkboxes in the front. Basically,
Okay.
generally they are after, hey, I want to select something, yes or no, and type of thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But when you go back to, right, I mean, how do the user add or edit any information from your search?
So now,
So now, since you have to combine the stories, right? Because combine the story meaning like you have to think through what happens next, or from the search, what is the functionality the user can, what things the user can do. So what if I didn't find a
So
patient?
under reports, here I had the thing. Sorry.
Not the report. Forget about reports. I'm just talking about search here, right? So here, what do I do next? Let's say I have this. Again, I think you're
She
on the
has put
search
a
report.
view and a download option, right?
No.
So-
I'm not talking about search. I was talking about the actual search patient.
Yeah, Harshal, so I'm just giving it like it's in here,
Sure.
right? So I think she's trying to like, let's go back to this one that, hey, I got the search results and then this is from where to do it. Now, think of this way, when somebody clicks a download, what exactly they're downloading? For a view, you are showing it next to each one of them. Okay. So
Yeah.
let's say if I'm like, it's wanting you to view the chest x-ray for that person ABC, you have a view.
Yeah.
But what is the download doing?
So
When I
can-
click on download, is it downloading all the reports?
No. So it will be this, and let's say I want only the brain MRI. So this and then download.
Yeah, see, but there is no rules, there is no clarity around it. What
Yeah.
happens then when they
So
click the
again,
download?
I think for me, it all boils down to kind of assuming that this is how it generally works.
Right, so
And-
that's where you need to list it out all questions. Remember what I just said, it's like it's when we were trying to do this thing on Sunday is put that, but then identify all the questions that you want to talk to the owner so that there is a clarity in terms of it. You're never gonna have things like that. So this screen that you showed it's a typical example. You cannot mix and match things. If you're showing view as an individual, then ideally you want to put a download button next to the view so that they can just download a specific one that they're trying to do it. Because you're making them to click certain things to download, but you're allowing them to view individually.
Yeah. So there,
Right.
so here for view, I had thought of, let's say if they just want to have a very quick view at something, then
It doesn't matter, right? So the same thing with the download.
Yeah.
The other question, I think it's what Harshal is talking about, is if I get to the search results, obviously it should not be, I saw the other story where you started with all the search results. The question comes in is, here there is no edit options.
I think this
Versus
is
your
search
user
report.
story, was about, hey, I want to edit the information about a patient, or I want to, because remember, like it's, hey, I want to search so that I can go ahead and add a demographic information. I want to search so that I can enter the medical information. Do you have that path implemented in any story with the screens?
This one?
Okay, so again, if you look at it, right, this is a search story. Even though you kind of say the issue is modify patient information, read the description, right? As a nurse, I want to search for patient's records. That's the story, right? And you say you are searching it because you want to be able to edit it. But the key story is, what are you doing? What do you want to do? That should be the stories. When you just say, I want to search for patient's record. So there is no edit. Scroll it down to see if there is an edit in this one.
So I will search first.
Okay.
So now I want to upload a report. I want to upload a prescription that was given just 5 minutes ago. Okay. So I will have to go into the patient and upload that prescription. So for that, the search page will remain the same with the same rules.
Okay.
This is what I was trying. So again, the same things can happen here. Along with view, I can have modify as an option, and we can get rid of the filters.
Right, but when you look at this story, right, this is a duplicate work from your search. Isn't that exact same thing? So the way you should have your stories is laid out as search, along with show results of a screen, and then there should be a connectivity from that screen whenever you do the screen for the next story. And the other story should just focus on it. Hey, I have a search results, right? So show the same screen that you had it on the search results in that story. Show it where they would click it And then when they click it, what screen will pop up that will allow them to modify the patient information, whether it's uploading a prescription, uploading a report, or uploading a demographic information type of things.
Okay. So if we come back to this,
Right.
Right. So all the stories has to stitch in.
yeah.
You cannot keep repeating same thing over and over again for the same action.
Yeah,
So you
generally, I
only
mean, one functionality, one story, right? So search and results, or you can split up search in its own and the result in its different story, which is fine. But what is next? So if you are trying to edit, how do I go to the edit? So you need to link up both stories as well. So you need to give something on the for the flow wise. Otherwise, you will not know how do I get to the edit. I mean, just looking at the story, or how do I add a new patient if I'm adding a new patient from there.
so do you mean that these things here, let's say we this is no longer relevant, okay? Let's say the
Yeah.
business says that we
Yep.
don't
Yep.
need such a photo. Now let's say we want the option of searching, and then at the same time we want to edit or update.
Yeah.
So
Once you search it, right? What is next? General tendency of the user. Why do I search? Because I
yeah,
want to retrieve the information, and
yeah.
then I want to maybe either add a new patient if I don't find it. Otherwise, I will go and update the existing information.
So does this mean that we can have this whole thing here under this?
No, you can keep it separate. I'm not saying like a task is edit or add. Edit and update are both are same, right? So it's edit or add or update and add. Those are the tasks. So you have stories called add new information, right? So that's the one. I would get rid of the report, because if you are adding a report, that means it's a whole nother functionality.
Hmm.
Make corrections. I'm assuming update the information, right? That's what you are trying to say. Make corrections wise for the patient,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, which is fine. I think those two stories are okay then. All right. But what is in those stories? Do you have anything created for those stories, or that's something you're expecting somebody else to do it?
What is in these stories, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm, I don't think I have covered that. I did not even know that we had to do that also.
Okay. No, that's fine. I mean, I'm just wondering whether you created anything for that. Otherwise, because these other people, right, in the class, they have a demographics module or something else, right? And maybe we can come back to that, this one, add or update, and revise the stories that you have a little bit later.
Yeah. So just one last thing I want to check with you is, um, so once they log in, they come onto this page.
Right.
And after this, you are saying that we should have an option of where they can either where they can directly edit.
Yeah, where they can, how do I go to the edit? You don't have to put everything on the search, right? Because search is for searching the things and viewing the results. That's what you wrote. But how do I go from, where do I go next? Those screens needs to be, or stories needs to be linked, right? So here your story doesn't say, how do I go to the edit from this? Or how do I add a new patient
Okay.
from this?
And where do we describe that?
So you can typically, you can put either on search or result. Okay, that does not matter. Generally, if you are adding anything new,
No. The story. Where? How do we? Where do we put that story in the swim lanes thing, or is it a separate write up that we have to do using Azure?
so actual add and update stories, they would be different stories. But just the linking part, you have to add it on your stories. Assuming you are a BA for complete a patient, right? Pay this module, right? So you're gonna create the search story, but then you will go and write the add and update story, right? Basically as a BA. But you need to link up those things. Make sure everything flows through in the system. from the user standpoint.
Okay. Okay.
So that's the reason I'm saying maybe we can come back to that part when we see the other folk story and see how if there is a way
Okay.
to link it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I think the business rules, I think description wise, I think you just need to flush that out a little bit, describe clearly, add more rules. Obviously, I think that's one of the things.
Yes. Yeah.
It fell light on the rules, basically. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, screen mockups, I think they are fine. It will never be perfect, and plus developer will modify regardless because these are mockups. So,
Okay. Okay.
but the rules are the ones they will actually implement.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
all right, Geeta, you wanna go next?
Yes.
Okay.
So can you see my screen?
Yeah.
So I took few stories from that initial clinical assessment form.
Okay. And what are those stories in general? Can you just describe these stories without going in detail?
I mean, this one.
Now, if you go back to your storyboard, right?
Okay,
The
okay,
board
okay.
that you have, just talk about what stories you have.
But this first one is for that identifying the data, the main demographics. The
Okay.
second one is to collect the history, like the mental health treatment information for the patient.
Okay.
The third one is to collect the trauma, and in this one I created the search one also. Okay,
Okay.
so this one is to collect the trauma history of patient,
Okay.
and here is the strengths, needs, abilities, and preferences so that physicians can determine their current behavior. I mean,
Okay.
patient's information, yeah. And then this one, add treatment and discharge info of patient, yeah.
Okay. So,
This is
so
from
these
the
are
form.
the medical form or the assessment form?
No, the second one which you gave, that you guys choose any five, the initial clinical assessment form.
Okay. So
It's
not
not
the medical form.
that one I forgot. You gave me the insurance part, but surely I will do it on Saturday.
Okay, because that's logically it flows to there,
Oh,
right?
right.
Because you are setting up a brand new patient and working through that, then the assessment comes in.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So flow wise, it will not be correct then. Okay, but let's see what you have
I
for
thought
the
you
so this.
gave that just practice
Oh no, it's
yeah.
never a practice. Okay, this is what you need to do
Hmm.
in the logical order, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see what you have for assessment.
So the first one, as a PHN nurse, I want to identify data so that physician can get information to be what? Uh, to be used for BCMH program.
So
Okay,
And
when you
so
say you want to identify data,
identified means on the very first screen as a in that form it was section A, identifying data.
okay,
can
so
you
I
pull
think
up the
it's
form as well?
Uh, I have
Yeah.
I have in my folder actually. Maybe I can open.
Yeah.
Wait.
Just to put it in context for everybody else as well.
Mm-hmm. So
Go ahead, Dilip. What were you asking?
so the thing is that like it's the description, right? You want to be
Yeah.
very concise with your description when you say I want to identifying data.
I was thinking to add, I can use this word as well, that add the demographics, because these
R-
are the first initial information, name, first name, and
Right. So that's
yeah.
what you want to do it, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
if you go back to your story,
Huh.
go that like if go ahead and pull up the form so that like
I
if you
don't
can just
see here. I don't know why, but it was in
okay,
my
go
Google
to no,
Drive.
hang on. Yeah, go to your Google Drive, click on
Hmm.
shared with me. No, click on shared with me on the
Oh,
left hand side.
okay.
Yeah.
That's where
Yeah,
you should
here it
have a
is.
folder.
Here it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so pull up the form. So if you click on the BA Bootcamp, go ahead and click on the folder at the bottom.
At the
So
bottom.
scroll it down. You have a folder, BA Bootcamp. Right? When you click on that folder, double click on it. That's where you should go and see the form. right? Scroll down. There you should have a BC image information folder. That is at the top. That's where the second,
This
right?
one here.
Yeah, okay. So when you look at the form, once it gets loaded, it's a little bit bigger form, so it's going to take a while.
Yeah, I did not open from here.
Okay.
I have in my folder.
That's
so.
okay, right? So when you look at the section A, it's an identifying data. But go back to your use case, in the case story.
Just a
Okay,
sec.
go back to your user story.
It is little hang. So this one.
All right. So now when you look at, right, so read the description, right? As a PHN nurse, I want to identifying data so that, well, what does that mean? What action you want them to do it?
I
So a
want
lot
to
of times,
add the
precisely. So you want to say,
demographics.
hey,
Yeah.
I want to
Okay.
enter or add information, enter demographic information so that it can act as an identifying data for a patient,
Okay.
right? Because think of it, the way the sections are described, right? All it's just saying is that, hey, if I have to identify the patient, what kind of data that I'll use it? It's nothing but a demographic data, right? Demographics information for a patient, right? That's what I would do it. I want to add a demographic information for a patient so that the patient can be searched later in the BC image program.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I will add an update.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So do you understand, like, it's
Yes,
why
yes,
it has to do it?
That
Now,
was in
once
my
you go
mind
there,
to add demographic part also, but I thought the user who is giving the requirement to mention in this way. So identifying data, yeah.
right. So
Okay.
did you had any specific questions as you were going through it that you wanted to ask your business users?
Yeah, I did not understand about the acceptance criteria. So what is your point of view about the acceptance criteria here? But I can show you what rules I mentioned here.
Yeah, so hang
Yeah,
on for acceptance criteria.
Yeah.
I would worry about acceptance criteria later. First, you need to make sure you are able to understand what is the thing that the user wants it, right? So my question is, do you have any question for Herschel? So that
Yeah.
becomes a clarified question for you to finish your business rule or finish your screen update.
So Herschel, do you want to create date of birth field in like this MMDDYY only? I mean, in this way or no?
Yes, I mean, generally, so I mean, in the system, right? So user will enter MMDDYYYY and system will auto-populate slashes.
Okay, system will automatically show the calendar
Slash.
thing.
No, the slash. So if I say zero, if I entering birthday, right? 01012000, that's all I need to enter. I don't need to press the slash keys. So it's called masking. Okay. So the birth date will support date of birth masking functionality. Okay, that's the rule. That's the rule you can have for that.
Okay. And what
It's a
about
date mask. Yeah.
Okay. What about the age and that marital status field? Do you want to use that drop down field here?
So age, right? So tell me what could be the possible age? Can I put 1000 in there?
No, 0 to 100.
So
Maybe.
So you probably want to put some limit for the number of digits if you are strictly allowing the digits and so forth.
Well, I would even question, right? I understand in the paper form, paper form that is always there. But in the system, if I'm already entering date of birth and I already know what is today's date, can I automatically calculate the age?
Yeah.
So that thing also I need to ask here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It says, do you need to specify age or can it be auto-calculated?
Yep.
Okay.
And generally it's auto-calculated, okay, in the systems.
Okay.
Yeah. Then for gender, right?
Yeah, that for gender, yes.
What are the options you can provide for?
Single, married, divorced.
No, that's for marital status. For gender.
Oh, sorry, gender, male, female. Yeah. I did not ask for that thing also, yes.
No, but it needs to be a drop down, right? and it will be a male, female, plus whatever other genders are. I mean, unknown as well. Sometimes people don't, they will say unknown, and there is no gender.
Okay.
If you ask certain people, yeah, they will say
Hmm.
unknown.
Hmm.
Okay, so you need to allow for unknown as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same thing in the race and marital status.
Okay. And what about this client ID number?
So
How do you
here's a
want to create?
question.
Hmm.
Here's a question, right? So typically in a client ID,
Hmm.
y- i- i- if you're doing a manual processing of the forms, then you will probably put it there. If you are in a system, right? System should automatically generate that ID. Is that the client ID or is it a case ID?
It
You
was
look into the context of the whole form, right? What
Hmm.
is it meant for?
Yeah,
Maybe a medical record number or
yeah,
something.
yeah. So it is a patient ID,
Hmm.
which when you enter the patient, right? So that
Hmm.
ID is generated, and here it's a display only, so that they can
Okay.
identify the patient. So when you create a brand new patient, it will
Hmm.
automatically assign some type of unique ID.
Hmm.
So that's the reason the other part was important, right? Because that's where some of the rules are there. How do I create those IDs, and what happens when you create a brand new patient and so forth. Now, this is the assessment for an existing patient, right? So patient is already there as part of your process.
Okay. And this in this other identifying information, do you want to specifically mention something, or you just want to leave it blank so that we can add other information here?
Yeah, you need to allow them to enter other
Okay.
information. Yeah, so it needs to be a bigger box
Hmm.
from the
Okay.
screen standpoint, right?
Okay.
Where they can enter like multi-line. So it needs to be a multi-line text box type of thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, the other aspect is like, how do they come to the screen?
Yeah.
Right? So if I am a nurse,
Hmm.
what is the path that I will follow to come to the screen?
Login first.
And then I will end up on the screen. Is that
No,
how you guys are saying?
I mean, after this one, after adding this information, you're asking?
No, just in
No,
order to
no.
add this information, right?
Yeah.
I have to come somehow, right? So like it's, hey, once I log in, will
Hmm.
this be the first form that will display by default that I need to add it? Or will I go to
No,
some other menu option, select it, and then I come to this page?
there should be some folder or something like the initial initial clinical assessment form, maybe.
So what you
Or
have to do it is you have to identify how this thing fits into the big picture,
okay.
which you cannot just put the
So
random,
you want
right?
the very first screen? Okay.
I don't want the screen, right? What I'm
Uh,
just saying is, question is, if I'm a developer
hmm.
who is targeted to build this particular screen based on this story,
Hmm.
where should I build it? Should I build it as soon as somebody logs in and connect to the login screen?
No.
What constraints, right? So you need to identify a path of where this thing fits in the overall picture. I didn't see that in the story, or I didn't see this here.
Hmm.
Okay. So one of the things that you may just start with the background is that, hey, you know what? You don't just throw the screen directly. You put it that, hey, when a user logs in, they will get this 3 option. And when they select it, that's when this screen will display it. And then you show the screen and then you put the associated business rules.
Okay.
Right? Otherwise, you don't know how things fits in.
Hmm.
The other aspect is like when I look at the form,
Hmm.
right? It's not only the identifying data, right?
Hmm.
There are multiple sections. Do you want me to submit after each one of them and then go back? So you have to think it from a big picture also, that, hey, I may have a tab which talks about identifying data. Then I can click to the next tab, or I can click save
Hmm.
and then plug it into whatever the tab that comes next.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Again, those would be the questions that I'll like. It's kind of
To ask the user.
ask the user, right? Hey, do I have to specify all the data before submitting it, or can I submit, save and submit one section? Okay. And then again, you identified that, hey, there is no exception is if they don't put any data, right? But as Herschel pointed out, the case ID is auto-generated.
Okay, I thought
But then
any.
what do you mean by other identifying information? What happens at when try to like it's put the first name and last name in, the patient doesn't, it's not entered in the system yet. Will I come to this screen at all? That's where the importance comes in, right? Or if you're coming in directly and says, hey, I'm gonna, as soon as I enter the first name and last name, system is gonna auto look up and give me this client ID.
I would go back to the business process diagram to see where this process fits in, and you work through that, because if you are, it might be missing the step of searching the patient, but you need to log into the system and then conduct the patient assessment, right? So how do I conduct the patient assessment? That's where you work with the user and identify how it works in the system and understand. And user will say, okay, in order to do the patient assessment, you need to I need to search the patient first and then determine the patient, and then existing patient. Basically, I need to find the patient that I conducted assessment on. I went to the house, right? Basically collected the information. Now I'm inputting into the system. So how do I go about it? That's where user will explain you the process. How do they envision this thing to be working? And then you create that in the stories and modify your stories basically appropriately. Okay. Here, I think you guys have a little bit different approach because you guys are kind of like a learning right here, but that conversation needs to happen with the user before you put anything in your story.
Okay.
All right. So this assessment. So can you guys think of any way to link it? What is your thought, I guess, Geeta, on that? How would you see it based on what I just described? For searching the existing patient, and then they can create an assessment for the patient from there. So that means you need to link this from the search capability that another BA is building on, right? So you make sure you work with that and figure out a way to link it to create the new, initiate a new assessment from the result screen.
Okay. I just tried from my idea. I just tried that. I thought that we have to add the information here and we have to ask all the requirements from the users. And then after adding, like I should have to create something that how I can search this information, this particular information which I'm adding here. So
yeah, see, if you had a search here, right? So that means it's a duplicate of what other person is doing, right? I mean, it's kind of like a similar.
I just create this small screen, only one only in this story only.
Okay.
Otherwise, I did not do search things. Yeah.
I know, but it's the same thing, right? If you really look at her screen and yours, it's kind of like a technically the same thing.
But I check from the CID, the date of birth from this particular form only. Yeah.
I know, but what I'm saying is you
I
don't
got
have to
this,
create the searches differently. All you want to do is identify the patient, right? That's all you are doing here. And there is already somebody else is already doing the search. You just need to hook your stuff into that flow and work through that. Okay. Now screens are, when you have a digital form, right? When you are digitizing anything, it will look completely different than the paper form.
Right.
Okay. All right. So you are missing this list right? Gender values, race
Yes,
values,
yes,
what
yes, yes.
marital status. So you're gonna add those in the
When
rules.
yes, I got it. Uh, I thought only about 2 or 3 things. Yes, there can be other things. Okay.
Now here, one more thing, okay?
Hmm,
So
hmm,
last
hmm,
name, first name,
hmm,
middle name, right?
hmm,
So
hmm,
they already have a patient in the
hmm,
system.
hmm.
So are they going to be entering it again here, or they will be pulling out the information from there and displaying it?
In that search criteria, we can search from the last name and first name. But here, this is the first screen where we are adding
Okay,
the new patient.
okay. So
So here,
is it where they add a new patient, or this is a clinical assessment, right? So they don't
mm,
add a new patient here. They enter the assessment for the patient. There are two different things here,
yes.
right? So I would ask you to go back to the complete the medical form. Basically, I
Okay.
think that's what you guys need to complete, because
Okay.
that's something that was the first thing exercise you guys had.
Hmm.
Because otherwise the flow will not make
Right.
sense here.
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
so let's focus on that one. I think on now,
Insurance one.
yeah,
Hmm.
because that's the flow. I mean, so I mean, if you miss the one part of the flow, I mean, then you will not be able to complete the assessment flow.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So let's put an effort to get to that flow first, because that one will hook up with the search, and then we'll see how far you guys go on the assessment later on.
Okay.
All right. But whatever you did, don't erase it. We'll come
No,
back
no,
and
no. I will not.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, we'll work through that.
Yeah.
Okay. I think other screens that you have are kind of like a similar, right? You probably digitize same way, but
I can show you in
yeah. Okay, let's
quickly.
go
Yeah.
there.
So this one I got, I think about later, I just
Sure.
created. So here there were two patient inpatient and outpatient information. Okay.
Okay.
So after building this one, I thought that it should be one. I mean, I should create a type box and like
Okay.
drag, right, which you
Yep.
showed me in that
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, and it's because
because the
everything is
same
same, right?
information
Yeah.
is here. I
Right.
created
Right.
same for both, right?
Okay.
So I did not get chance to fix this one, but this
Okay.
thing I thought about. Yeah. And then here, if we click none, like
Uh-huh.
they don't have any mental health treatment history, so
Sure.
this screen will not pop up.
Will not pop up, or that's the only part they will save, and it will say
uh,
none, right?
None means if they don't have this kind of mental health treatment history. So if they says none, so yeah, they don't need to add all this information, it will not
Yeah.
pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other part will be disabled or something, right? Or
Yeah, something
it's
like
not
that.
visible, right?
Yes,
Visible.
yes,
So
yes.
those things you can identify in the rule and put that
I
in.
did here. I
Uh,
did.
yeah.
I only have one business rule here. I find only one actually. So this none thing, which
Okay.
I just told you. So then add, and this one is here. Family mental health history. Again, the same rule here applies. If none, if yes, then like from the user point of view, describe history and specify relative. So
Okay.
then
Now
someone.
show me the form, so that I understand what you are trying
Yeah.
to do here. Flip
So
to the form
hmm,
section of the form.
it was open somewhere, but again I have to open here.
Yeah, you can download it actually. Save it, I think, and download it on your machine. That would be faster. Because what happens is like every time it opens up, and it takes a lot of time to display it, to load properly in the browser.
Hmm.
Yeah, it will take a minute or two.
So D, I was talking about this D, section D, history of mental health.
Okay, so read about it. Chronological history of all inpatient and outpatient treatment to include location, date of the treatment, diagnosis, type of treatment, and those things, right? So, and if you scroll down here, um, yep. So family mental health history, none, describe specific value. So it says the
Describe.
chronological history, okay? So date, location, so you have all the fields, I think, over there, but it's a history. So will it be only one or it will be multiple? That's the first question that you probably want to ask the user.
Okay, okay, okay.
And user will say, yeah, they need to, it's a history. They need to be able to as many as they want.
Well,
because
the
it's a
question is,
chronological history.
yeah, even when there is as many as you want, are you displaying all into one? Or
Right.
you need to worry about like it's kind of show 5 at a time and then there is a click next sets of 5 type of thing.
Right. So first of all, I mean, I think we talked last time in the class as well, right? I showed you how can you have more than one. You need to follow that pattern.
That drag thing, right?
No, the result, then add, and then edit at the
Result.
bottom. Okay, so that's the pattern you need to follow. Because this one will give you only one.
Yeah.
It says I can enter only one location and that's it. But what happens? I want to be able to more than one item.
Okay.
So I think you're repeating, right? So I can see it chronological history of inpatient and
Yeah,
then
same thing.
outpatient. But
I said that.
it's again, the way I would just do it, it's not necessarily inpatient or outpatient, right? So that should be one of the drop down or a
Drop down,
radio
yes.
box or radio box that, hey, was this treatment was inpatient or it was an outpatient treatment? The other question comes in, right, that you can ask it potentially is, how do you want that information to be organized? Is it chronological order, but it is sortable? Is it kind of from the most recent to the new one, like the old one, or the vice versa? And then do you want 2 clusters, one for inpatient, another one for outpatient? Those kind of questions you ask it, and then based on that, that's when you identified, hey, how I'm going to display it.
Yeah, this one is showing only for one, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So you need to allow multiple in that case.
But here is the other question. When you click on submit, be mindful, what happens if they enter the information, one for inpatient, one for outpatient? Is it, that means they can submit only one at a time? Scroll down, there is a second submit button? Okay, so when there are multiple submit button, is that creates more confusion?
This
Is the
one
submit is the same functionality for both of them? And I will submit everything which is on the screen, right? The more likely scenario is save and continue, right? Submit, it's altogether completely different than, hey, I'm going to enter into the system and that's it. Then I'm probably going to get out.
Okay,
Versus save
continue,
is, hey,
save
I'm
and
going to continue it. I'm going to continue on the same page, but I'm just saving each pieces of information as I go through it.
Right, right.
Right. So those are the kind of conversation you need to have.
Continue next button. I mean,
right. So
for the
that's
next
the
page.
pattern that Herschel was talking about. I want to add it. I want to go back to the previous one. What do I want to do?
Yes, 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 yes. Now I'm getting few ideas at that time because I just started. This is the very first time. Even today morning when I was doing my job, there was the option going back at next screen, cancel, and those were the screen on the downside. Now I start noticing from today only actually those things. So there are a lot of business rules on my screen where I work, but I never noticed those things. Yeah.
Right. So those are the kind of things that you need to capture into it, right? So it's not about just taking the screen that you had it in the form and replicating it on the screen.
No, this one, this inpatient and outpatient, I told very first time that I did it wrong because
No. I'm
yeah.
not just saying it's wrong or right,
Mhm,
right? I'm
mhm.
like it's kind of putting the thoughts that these are the kind of things that you need to think about,
Yeah.
right? That you're not just kind of converting it to paper form as
Mhm,
is into electronic format, right? You should ask questions. Does it even make a sense to convert this particular field into that? Or is it going to be auto calculated like what we talk about the age? Or
mhm,
is it something that it's going to be system populated?
mhm,
And if so, from where it pulls it up, at what point it pulls it up? Those
mhm.
kind of conversations or questions you should have it for the business users as you lay out the screen.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just sent you guys the pattern, right? What I was talking about to put that in a context. You need to have something similar, laid out something similar on that. Okay, I just quickly put that on my machine here. Um, so you can save it and just pop it up. And it's a very common pattern. Okay, you're gonna find that everywhere. Okay, in this application, if you build the whole app, uh, wherever the something repeats, you have to follow that basically. Okay, so kind of like having a
Add.
grid. Yeah, then you have an add button, and
Mm.
then when you click on add, it pops up the bottom where you have all the fields, individual fields, like what you have right now.
Mm.
Instead of submit, I have a save
Mm.
there. Okay, and when you save it, it adds the information in the grid at the top, and you can keep on doing that basically. And if you want to edit anything, there will be a edit button right in the, for every record, there will be edit button. So you click on it and it will populate again here at the bottom grid. And you can change the information, click save, it will populate here.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, on the top grid. So that's the pattern I think you will run into, and you will notice. I mean, as you said, I mean, in your company, whatever system you have, most likely there is a pattern like this.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, but now you can see for one screen, you can have so many rules here. If you click on edit, you have to capture all those details and put it in the story. The more details you put in, the developers will not get confused. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So I think other things might fall into this category. I think most of this assessment thing has similar things, right? So your rules will change significantly.
Mm.
Plus, you need to identify what is the minimum set of information if they are saving it, right? So if I click on none, yes, I can submit without any issue. But what if I don't select none and I don't enter anything? Will I be able to submit anything without any
Yes.
record? So you need to identify
No,
what is
you
the
cannot.
minimum,
Huh.
right? At least the type and some other data element that you need to identify
Mm.
from the user. Okay. So it's a lot of work. Okay. But let's pick one thing. Okay. I think did you guys? I think you can work through this assessment one. This is the story. Okay. And flush it out. Only one story. Flush it out.
Now this one, which
Yeah,
I
this
did.
is the
Okay.
one. Yeah, we talked, right? So let's
Okay.
flush it out according to what pattern you are following.
Hmm.
Yeah. So and we'll review on Saturday.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. Just add as much rule as you can.
So yeah. Then please check the other one also. So
Yeah, other ones I think will fall in the same category based on what I know.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, but pick one because for other
Pick
stories you will be repeating the same thing.
pick one means this one, right? Just
Yeah, the
one.
same one. Yeah, what we
Okay.
just discussed now. Yep.
Okay.
That one and demographics, right? So you have
Okay,
demographics
these
as
two.
well.
These two, yeah.
Yeah, those two. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. So Cynthia, do you have anything that you can share? Cynthia?
Hello.
Hi, Cynthia.
Hi.
Do you have the stories in the tool
I
written
did.
down?
I'm done with all my stories, but the same
Okay.
problem. When I tried to log into Oliver's computer with
Okay.
the Devops, no,
Right.
Outlook, so that I will see my
Okay.
Devops assignment over there. But when I open, it's Oliver's he doesn't know how to log out. He has
Right.
to log out for me to
Oh,
log.
I see. I see. You can't log into your account. That's what you are saying.
Yeah, that is what I'm trying to do. We can't log him out for me to. When we open new page for
Right.
Outlook, it's like Oliver's name comes.
Okay.
I want to log him out so that I'll be able to log
Right.
myself in, but I'm
Okay.
still struggling. I did all the 5. I can take a picture of my page and send it to you.
I think it's easier because now the stories gets complicated. So it's easier to share the screen yeah, because picture, if it's a process diagram, yeah, we are okay. But when you talk about the stories, I think it's good to see how you wrote and
Yeah,
those
Nana,
things in the tool.
try and log yourself out here.
Enye
Let me
enye
see.
enye masema enye na odi na
It's so sad.
so the issue yeah so started practicing.
So Cynthia, this one you should be able to log in from your machine. I mean,
For which one? The Outlook?
Mac. Yeah, no, you don't need to log into the Outlook. You just go open the Mac, go to the browser, and log in from there. Because this is not installed on your machine.
You're talking about the assignment, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I have done everything here.
Okay.
All the 5
Okay.
stories
Okay.
with the details, adding it with the the mapping
Right.
thing. But I want to share it.
Sure.
That is the. I don't know whether from the beginning of the thing I did something and now. Okay, Zoom, share. It's so. Let me try it. Because picture will not do nothing. You see, this is my work. But in order for them to see it, I don't know. This is nothing secret. If somebody can, I can give you my username and password for somebody
Okay.
to open it. Because the Outlook account is a new account. I don't have any private thing in it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can give you the account name. Hold on.
Okay. Give me a second. Okay, put it in the chat window, Cynthia.
Okay. AKUAA. Yeah, I have entered the account
Gotcha.
name over there. So
Okay.
I'm typing the password.
Yep. It says you don't have the account.
No,
That
I am.
that account is not valid. Can you double check that?
Oh, that is the account I'm using.
Okay.
It's AKUAAGYAPONG number 2. The
Oh,
G did not
PONG.
come.
Okay.
Yeah, the G did not come.
Okay.
Number 2.
Yep. Okay. Put the
Actually,
password in.
okay. If the password do not work, take the C, the last 3 away from it,
No,
and just
it's fine. It's fine, Cynthia. I think I'm good on your project. So let me go and share my screen here quickly. Okay. I think you guys should be able to see it now.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah. Okay, Cynthia, which project is it? Patient registration? You go to the boards.
go to the boards and let me
Okay,
see.
gotcha. Okay, which story you guys like? You want us to look at it?
The demographic first one.
Okay, demo first one. Enter
No,
my.
the first one is the demographic.
I don't see the first one here. Let me see in the backlog. See if it's hidden somewhere. In nutrition, yeah, there are only 5 stories here. So I want to sign up a new patient into the system as a PHN
Yes,
nurse,
yes.
right? Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Okay. I think your screen didn't come through, Cynthia, probably.
The mapping thing. I click on it and see it will open because I have it on my page right here.
It says it's a login timeout. Okay. Hang on. I kick. Let me see it here. Okay, here. Let me see if you have attachment? No details. Yeah, somehow the screen is not showing up here.
I took a picture with my phone and
Okay.
email it back to me.
Yeah.
So
okay, gotcha.
Did you see it now?
No, did you email me?
Let me email it to you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So
log in, PHN, yes, to sign. Okay, I'm emailing it to you.
Okay. Username, password to sign a new patient in the program.
Okay.
Should be a first name and last name. Okay.
Yeah, I have sent that one, the first one to you.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, so I will do it one after the other when you.
Okay. So I'm just pulling up the screen. Okay. All right. So this is the login part, right? So we're not going to talk about this part because this is a login screen, but this is what you have, right? Demographics.
Yeah, the demography. I have the patient's name, first, last name, and middle initial, patient's date
Okay.
of birth, gender. Then I add the patient into the system.
Okay. So did you, so you created this screen in that tool, right?
Yeah, in the mapping,
Yeah,
the
that
frame
frame
box.
box, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did it come out like this? First name?
I did it. You know, there is a line in the frame box, so I took the line over there.
Okay.
Then I put the first and last name, like under each wherever I want them to be.
Okay.
Yes.
And
Then
then these are check boxes, I guess.
yes.
M and F. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And the screen that you have, patient demography, these are the only things over there on the screen? Or
Yeah, on the
there is more?
screen, this is the only thing I created.
Okay.
But reading the story itself.
Okay. So this is the screen that you have. All right,
Yeah,
so let
in
me
my mind,
see.
I think when I have to log into as a PHN nurse to sign up a patient, then when I come to a demographic, I enter the patient's name, the patient's date of birth, and
Okay. So so you are logging in, then you have patient and so forth. So here your story says something different. Okay, Cynthia, it needs to say as a
I want to sign up a new patient into the system as a PHN nurse.
right, but the story is about patient demographics, right? So you need to specify that you are signing up a patient and entering a patient's patient demographics information.
Okay.
Right, that's what you are doing here. So you want to stick to what is that your screen is about. And so I'm just trying to see here how you can change this one. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you want to start with it, right? As a
As a
nurse,
nurse,
as a
yeah,
PHN nurse, I want to sign up a new patient in the system so that I can do, so that we can provide a basic image services to that patient.
yeah. But screen, I mean, the story is about only demographics. It's not about the sign up.
Yeah, so then it's okay, I can update patient demographic information in the system.
I'm just trying to see here as a PHN nurse. Okay, I think it's not perfect, but for now, I think it might be okay. Patient
Okay.
demographics, that's what we are talking about here. Okay, so now, so Cynthia, I'm looking at your steps here. I think you wrote down the steps for the actual business process.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. This steps is not necessary, right? Because this happens outside the system.
Okay.
Because you collected this information and so forth, which system does not care how you collected it, right? Or where you get the
Okay.
information. Once you
Then the
have the
third one too
information.
will be the same thing too.
Yeah, third one, I mean, this one happened before you are entering this information, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you get to this? We don't really
Okay, business rule.
care, right? But this is, it's a business rules. There should be a first name and last name. Okay, so first name and last name, but what rules you have, how big this fields are? Maybe you allow 50 characters. That's what you should go into the rule. Okay,
Okay.
so I mean, first name and last name is there on the screen, but you are missing the middle initial as well, right?
Okay.
So first name, and this might be the rule,
Yes,
shall
but
allow
you know
only.
the middle initial is optional. That is why I did not add it to the rule.
Right. Now, okay, so you are saying first name and last name are required,
Mm-hmm.
and last name fields are required. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what the rule says. You have first name and last name. You are allowing up to 50 characters into those fields, plus they are
Okay.
required. Okay. So you are
Mm-hmm.
specifying that as a rule here,
Mm-hmm.
business rule. Third number rule is new patient age should be below 21 years, right? So now there is no age field here.
The date of birth, like when you enter the date of birth, and if
Uh-huh.
it is more than 21 years,
Okay.
it will not take it. The system will not take it.
Okay, so this rule might be valid. Now, only thing you can say here is how you can say based on date of birth, system shall calculate patient's age, and if the new patient's age is greater than, it is more than 21 years, then display error message saying age must be less than 21 years. Okay, so you need to do some certain action as well. What is the
Yeah.
rule here? So
I
this
think
could
that
be the rule.
I think display an error message will come under the exceptional, right?
You can show it here because you are forcing it here. So it is
Okay.
fine if you put that in here as a rule as well. Okay. Then
Okay.
error message might be you put additional things here. It's
Mhm.
fine if you repeat the same message here. Okay.
Okay. Mhm.
Okay. So fourth rule is fine. MMDDYYYY in order for system to enter in order for form of MMDDYYYY, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what you have it here. Now, why do you have checkboxes here? Can I select both?
You know, like gender, if the patient is a male, then you check on the M. If the patient is female, then we check on the F.
Right. So here,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a checkbox, meaning like you need to put some rules around it that patient
Okay.
can select only male or
Okay.
female,
Okay.
or
So
you make it as a radio buttons, which is a
okay.
different control.
Okay. So can it be a rule that the it cannot be checked, like both cannot be checked
At the same time,
in the same time?
yeah,
Yeah,
you can put that
that's when
rule.
you use the radio button
Yeah,
control
radio
instead
button.
of a checkbox control.
Right.
Okay.
There is a round control. If you look at it in the tool,
Mm-hmm.
there is a radio button there. You can use
Okay, I
that.
saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that one will allow only one. So that's a visual thing. So developer will
Okay.
build it accordingly. Is
Okay.
there anything else required? So date of birth is required. Can I save it, click on add without entering date of birth? Or do I have to enter all the fields? Right. So all these fields are
Also, I
required.
think it's the rule that you put it that date of birth cannot be more than 21 years.
Right.
Mhm.
Is that the rule? Have you checked it with our business owners that you cannot accept a patient which are older than 21 years?
Yeah, according to the family handbook that
Right.
I read, there was a limit to the age. I don't know if that is different.
No, but you need to confirm that with the users. That's what it means. So in the book it says, but you double check with the users. Hey,
Okay.
is that really rule applies? And they might say, yeah, the rule, you need to enforce that rule, and so that you need to put that in.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So it's pretty much everything is required. And now the exception wise, okay, yeah, what if the database is not entered? then what error message you should display. If gender is not entered, what error message you should display. If the last name and first name is more than 50 characters, what error message is
Okay.
displayed? Or if they did not
Okay.
enter last name and first name, what error message will be displayed, right?
Okay.
Yep. So that's your story. I mean, that becomes part of your story. Okay.
Okay.
Now this is a simple screen, right? But it can get it has so many rules. I mean, and basically that's how you document certain stories over there.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay. So now I think everybody, you guys need to think about how do you get to this screen, right? I mean, patient demographics from what point, or how do I enter new patient information? So that's something to think about for you guys, okay, for Saturday.
Okay.
Now,
Like
plus
how
plus
is
out
it?
the other stories, okay? We did something like this, right, Cynthia? I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what you have for the other stories, but you probably want to plus this out accordingly what we just discussed here. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And we can review them a little bit further on Thursday. Sorry, on Saturday.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Any other question from anybody? Any clarification?
So you said this is I have forgotten what I wanted to ask you. You said something not too long ago, but I can't just remember it.
Okay, I forget too. I'm not sure what I said, Cynthia. We talk
Yeah.
a lot of things here. So, okay. All right, then I think if you guys don't have any question, I guess everybody knows what to do, right? From now till Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll work through on Saturday because we don't have any new topic to cover. So this is all we're gonna do: flush out the screens, make sure everything hooks up properly, and end of Saturday, I mean, you guys should have good understanding of how the stories should be built as well.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Geeta or Pooja, any question? You guys good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Geeta, you probably want to work through your story, right? At
Yeah,
least one. Yep. If you can get both done, I think that's great.
Okay.
If not,
One.
try to work it through. Yep.
Okay.
All right. And we'll regroup on Saturday morning. And I think our technically Saturday is supposed to be the last day, but let's see how far you guys go. Okay. Because I want
Yeah.
to make sure you get the project this at least few stories properly.
Yeah. And Harsha, I'm still struggling about sharing, so I don't know how I'll be able to share my screen unless like we do it the same way as we did it right now.
Yeah, which is fine, but you need to do the stories, right? And
Yeah, I
you
will
can
do the
just provide the.
correction.
Yeah, it's fine. Do the correction, and then we can walk it through here. But I probably won't modify your stories. Okay, that's something you have to do. Today, as an example, I showed you here how you can modify or update your stories and work through that. But ultimately, it's you, right? You have to learn how to write the stories and work through that.
All right,
Right.
thank you very much.
So Harshal, sorry,
Right.
yeah, in business rule, as you discuss with her, so I have to mention like each and everything, like age, like all the
Any exception that you have for required, I mean, you don't have to put it in the same format. You can list out all these fields are required, or you can mark it as an asterisk, right? All the fields marked with asterisks are required. If that's what you have it here for like a first name, right? You have asterisk there, last name asterisk. Then you just put one rule: all fields marked as asterisk are required.
Okay.
That's one line.
No, that was not my question actually. As
Okay.
Dilip was asking questions with you, because I only write 3 or 4 rules for maybe
Right.
for the date of birth or maybe for the CID number, right? But
Sure.
I have to mention in this business rule for the like all questions, like step by step, name, last name, middle name, like
What
this.
you do, right, typically is you come up with the mock-up screen based
Uh,
on the initial discussion, and then you walk the user through.
hmm,
This is how you are thinking,
hmm.
how
But
it's
I don't
supposed to
have to
work.
write everything there. Only the except only those rules I have to mention there, right?
See, rules you can write it little bit later. Once you confirm with the user, hey, user
Hmm,
will say, oh, this is required. Then you capture that as part of the rule.
okay.
So that's why you have mock-up screen, right? Because you want to
Hmm,
get the user feedback right there
hmm,
and see what rules are applicable. You want to understand that, right? It's more of a communication.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the first step. And second part is you need to document properly those rules for
Mhm.
IT people, because business rule is for business to validate properly, make sure they understand what they are getting. Once you discuss with the business, then you document them in the story, and then you give it to review with the IT folks, because they might come up with something else as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a full-time job, right? I mean, BA is so you work with both worlds, IT and business, and plus out the requirements.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good start, right? For you guys, hopefully you guys are getting hang of the stories and patterns and different things. So, and any system you're gonna work through it, I think you will see this pattern everywhere. Okay, these type of patterns.
Okay.
Okay. All right, then I think we can regroup on Saturday morning. Then. Okay. Anybody coming to the class? I would strongly recommend you guys come to the class, but it's up to you guys.
Especially me.
Okay, so I'm assuming everybody will be online then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, then we'll just work online then. Yep. Okay. All right. See you at 8:45 then on Saturday.
Thank you.
See you. Bye.
All righty.
Mm.
Bye bye.
Kunim, now I'm done. Now I'm done from my class.